Alright, let's talk about what tools you're going to need in order to modify this Fatmax. First, you're going to need a Fatmax, and we show you where to get that and how much it is and all that stuff. I would recommend some type of overgarment. Here I have a cheap 511 jumpsuit. You can pick these things up for cheap now. You're going to need a vise to hold your Fatmax while you're doing your cutting and your grinding. You're going to need a angle grinder. Here I have a Serious Craftsman. You can pick these up for pretty cheap if you don't already have one. You're going to need two discs. One is a metal grinding disc, which is your thicker type of disc. The second one is going to be a actual bedding cutoff blade, and this is your thinner one. This is what you'll make your cuts with. You're going to need some protection for your hands, some eye protection at the very least. And then I use an actual face shield to keep all the debris from shooting down into your collar and all that kind of good stuff. So just the basic tools you'll need. I wouldn't recommend trying to cut this guy with a hacksaw or anything like that. Some people had posted that that's what they used, but I wouldn't recommend that. I would just go with a angle grinder. Go out and buy one if you don't already have one, or borrow someone's, something like that. Alright, so that's it. Just your basic tools. And next we'll get into the modification. Alright, basically next you want to mark off where you want to make your cuts, and I did that simply using a straight edge, any type of straight edge, and a marker. That's about the where you want it cut. As you can see on here, you're just basically cutting that claw off. And then on the grinding part, you don't really need to mark that down, but you can. You're basically just grinding off the teeth there, and that's kind of something you'll just have to keep an eye on and go with. You're going to want to get it, for lack of a better term, sharpened down a little bit. That's going to get your the tool in between the door frame and the door itself when you set it. Alright, so we have our Fatmax in the vise here. You want to make sure, of course, that you've got your vise nice and tight. Have it as parallel to the floor as you can. That'll help you with making a straight cut. And we've got our cutting disc on there now. And let's get into it. Alright, so you want to take your time with it. Obviously you're not in a big rush. You want to let the tool do the work for you. As you saw, I was switching back and forth there, and I'm going to let it cool down just a little bit. If you get some drag on it, as you see, I went back and forth switching sides. If you're not used to cutting metal and stuff. And we're going to let it cool down a little bit, let the blade cool down, because this is an older disc. I've used this a bunch of times, so it's a little hammered, but we'll let it cool down a little bit and we'll get the rest off. It's just about there. Alright, we're back. I found another disc, so I changed the discs out, and we'll finish this sucker up. we have it. We got that guy cut off of there. As you can see, like I was talking about before, going back and forth when you make your cut, that's why you want to make sure that you have some kind of overgarment and face shield, because as you saw at one point, the blade got caught a little bit and wanted to come towards me. That's when you want to switch around and you know, let the tool do the work for you, and if it's going to bind, make the thing shoot away from you. So anyway, remember, this is all at your own risk. But next, let's get into the grinding. We'll finish this guy off and we'll start knocking the teeth out. Alright, so now we have our thicker grinding disc on here, and probably need a new one of these too. But anyway, we're going to get in here and smooth this guy out, and then we'll set it up for grinding the teeth off. Alright, that's about it. Let's see, the cut on this one isn't as straight as I did on the other one, but we're not too concerned about that. As you can see, it's a little off, but that's no big deal. We could continue to grind down these high spots here, but you know, it really doesn't matter. So let's get set up and we'll start knocking these teeth off. Alright, now we're set to start knocking these teeth down. However you can get the tool into the vise, it doesn't really matter. We're a little bit of an angle here, but that's no big deal. If you got to be aware of where your sparks and stuff are going. So you know, I'd close my door over here to the garage so we don't set the house on fire. And let's get to it. Alright, so you know you're starting to get close when you start knocking down the bridges or whatever, and once you get past that one, then we'll just keep going with it. Alright, so basically we knocked down the bridges or whatever you want to call it. Next, you just go in there, and this is where you have to pay attention to the depth that you have there. Like I said, my disc is pretty much toast, but like most people, you just go with what you got. So I may end up getting a new disc just to grind this thing down. You want to watch your heat and make sure you're not, you know, putting excessive heat into this thing. So anyway, I'm gonna check to see if I have another disc, and then we'll get back to it. Alright, so we're back. I didn't have another disc, and I don't feel like going to the hardware store to get one, so we'll just deal with what we got. I let it cool down a little bit, so we'll get back to it. Alright, so let's pull this guy out and take a look at that. Not looking too bad. You can keep going with it. That's still pretty thick, so I'll keep grinding on it. But for the sake of boring everyone, we'll come back when I'm done. Alright, so that's basically what you're looking to do. Let's see, this guy here is probably about the same. I could have ground that one down a little bit too. So anyway, we'll come back and with the finished product. Alright, so here we have it. It's ground down pretty good. Enough to get yourself into a between the door and the door frame. I also kind of cleaned up the top piece here as it was a little bit uneven from the initial cut, and you just grind that guy down just so it's smooth. And that's about it. We'll get into the painting and all that stuff coming up. Alright, next we have a sanding disc. We're just going to rough up the paint a little bit, just so it'll take the paint better, and go from there. That's about all you need to do. Just rough it up a little bit. Give your paint a little bit of bite. You know, it's a tool, so it doesn't really matter as far as your finish goes, because once you start knocking stuff around, you're gonna jack it all up anyway. So anyway, we'll get into paint. Alright, so we're getting ready to paint this guy. Basically some blue painter's tape to mask up your handle, and whatever type of paint you want. I have some Krylon, they're camouflage stuff. The stuff works really well. And then I have some Gillespie actual 383 paint, which I had left over from some other projects. This is actual 383, the correct paint code for your military OD green. But hey, you can paint it black, whatever, it don't matter, or you can leave it yellow, whatever you want to do. So let's get into that. We're not painting a hot rod or anything, so my masking, I'm not getting too technical with it. You just want to keep the paint off of the rubber, because it's going to have a hard time sticking to the rubber, and it'll get all nasty on you down the road. That's it. Alright, we're back. We're going to start painting this bad boy. Basically, you can set it up any way you want, and we'll get into it. It's starting to rain a little bit, so we may have to stop partial way through here. But like I said, since we're not painting a hot rod, it really doesn't matter. Alright, we're back. The rain has stopped, and we'll get to finishing up the paint on here. I apologize for the background noise. There's a commercial air conditioning next door, and it's kicking it up pretty good today, so let's get to it. So what we're just doing here is getting a good base coat on it. Depending on the type of spray paint you have, depends on how thick you can go and all that good stuff. All right, we'll clean our nozzle off here. Just making sure we're good for the next time. Always want to make sure you do that. And we'll let it dry a little bit, and then we'll hit it with a couple coats of the Krylon tan. Alright, so while we're waiting for this to dry, I'm just going to go over kind of the pattern that we're going to shoot on this guy here. Call it what you want, snakeskin pattern or whatever. Basically, it's just a laundry bag that I bought at Walmart. Cut a piece out of it, and then you basically just lay it over the item that you're painting, and you dust it on there, and it gives you a pretty cool pattern like this. But like I said earlier, you can paint these guys up any way you want, but this is kind of the look that we'll be going for. So when this dries, we'll hit it up. Alright, so we're back, and we're just going to hit this thing up. Basically, I have a bag from Walmart, like I said, a laundry bag, cheapo. You just cut a piece out of it and take your different type of paint, and we'll be laying it over and just dusting it up. You can get as precise or imprecise as you want. I like laying it at different angles. It gives it different patterns. Close, far away. It's up to you how you want to do this. And then basically, once you have that done, just hit it up with some more green, a light dust. Kind of blends it in all together. Alright, we're back, and the paint is dry, so let's check out our handiwork here. Basically, this is the pattern that I shot on here. Kind of gives you an idea of what that looks like. You know, like I said, you can paint it any way you want. This is just the way I decided to do it. It shows you the thickness of the tool that we ground it down to. It gives you an idea of kind of where you're trying to go with it. Like I said, I ground this area down a little bit, smoothed it out. You can see how that looks once that's all done. Didn't do any modifications to the backside, don't really need to do any. Nice thing about this, you could put a lanyard through here or something like that. While we're talking about that, quick shout out to Jason at GMC Custom Holsters. He's going to do up a MOLLE system so I can carry this on the back of my tack vest. So I'll do a video on that once he's done. It's going to be in Kydex, and it'll adjust to any MOLLE actually. So hopefully we'll get that here pretty quick, and I'll add on to either this video or we'll just do a whole nother video for the Kydex. So anyway, this has been Eric with ITS Tactical. Thanks for watching.